I am.
まだ王都と神竜を新参者の流派だと思っているのか。オリアナ王国必ず救いだ。エルフの本気はここからだ。さっさと終わらせて釣りに行く。
Should you play the Eminence in Shadow, Master of Garden, in 2024? Well, hopefully by the time this video is finished, you'll have your answer. But for now, let's go ahead and dive in and see what this gacha has to offer. So firstly, let's go ahead and start with the home screen, which is equivalent to like lobbies in other gacha games. But I think that this one is much better than most other gacha games that I've played. I really like the animations that is accompanied with each unit. They all have different scenes, and you unlock different scenes by building your relationship with them, and you get different dialogue and different scenes, settings, environments. It's really nice. I think that this is really unique. I haven't really seen it in any other kind of gacha. And the models look really nice. I really like the models on all of these units. And I'll go ahead and turn on the sound and you guys can see what I mean.
Alpha 様に鍛えられた日々のことを思い出します。厳しかった。でも特訓が終わった後、一緒に飲むスープが身も心も温めてくれたんですよね。
So next, we are now in the character tab, and let's go ahead and take a look at some of the characters and just how gearing works in this game. So, for example, let's take a look at Delta. So you'll have your level, and your level will be capped at certain points in the game until you get your account level higher. I don't think that that's too out of the norm. I think that there are some other gachas that do that. It's pretty normal. But where this differs is the gearing system. So if you're familiar with something like Epic 7 or Outer Plane or something that has really complex gear, another one, for example, like Summoner's War, this game doesn't really have that. For the most part, gear is fixed, and it usually depends on the unit itself that sets it apart from other units in the game. So if we take a look here, this just gives base stats, and it depends entirely on what unit has what gear really, but you can't really, like for example in Epic 7, you can't use an attack set to boost Delta's attack even further. They don't have anything like that. It's pretty much set. And because they do that, I think that in a way it does help balance the game out more in terms of like PvP. But in order to get the max level out of a character, you have to have shards of the unit itself to increase it. So if you have an SS unit, the max it can go is SS++, and right now my Delta is at SS+, but you can take her to SS+, and you can take other units such as, let's use Shadow Encounter Alpha for example. This is normally an A ranked unit, but I've brought her up to SS, and that's because I have used shards to raise her rarity. Now, in the story tab, this is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll go over it briefly just in case. Main stories follows the anime pretty much, and the Seven Shadows Chronicles is stuff that you'll only find in the game for the most part. I'm not too sure if the light novels went over the stuff that happens in Seven Shadows Chronicles, but if someone does happen to know that, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. I would be interested to hear it. And character stories are things that you unlock once you progress with certain units, such as like relations or unlocking their highest potential. So like S++, certain things unlock story-wise, and you can look at them here. And event stories are events that they run. They have their own singular stories, and you can check those out here also if you wanted to go back and recap or whatnot. So in terms of questing, this gacha isn't much different from others. It runs off an energy stamina system where you expend points to run quests to obtain sets of gear or pieces of specific gear for units that you have. And where it gets interesting is the combat itself, because even in manual play, the units still use the skills on their own. The only thing that you really have control over is what ults you want to be used and inputting the combos. And I'll go ahead and show you an example of what combat's like. But if you have it on auto, it's pretty much gonna run itself as intended. But I'll show you combat on auto, and then I'll show you what it's like when you manually do combat.
の名に恥じぬ戦いを見せると約束する。まだまだ共に参りましょう。行きますよ。行きますよ。甘いわね。わかりました。手加減はなし。行きますよ。相手にならない。さような。流派が分かれば対応もたやすいです。大丈夫です。まだよ。ありがとう。状況は万事順調よ。腕油断で加減はなし。見せてくれましょう。行きますよ。相手にならない。甘いわね。もう大丈夫です。ありがとう。エルフの本気はここからだ。覚悟してもらう。力を込めろ。分かったわ。アイアム。主様の教えのおかげです。
Gamma is such a klutz. Alright, so that was combat on auto, and I'll show you what it's like manually. Okay, so this is the same fight, but I'm doing it manually. Let's wait for a 5 combo here. Well, Shadow will finish it. Or not. Now, the reason why some of my teammates died is because I was not focusing defense, I was just trying to output damage. But yeah, that's pretty much manual combat. Now here on the Versus tab, this is basically your PvP tab. Bushin Festival is your standard one team versus another team PvP, and Bushin Festival Battle Royale is three sets of teams versus another 3 set of teams. So that's PvP in general pretty much, but what I think is really unique about Eismog is Armageddon. Now Armageddon is really cool. So, I never came back to this tab for a while, but basically I don't have any footage of Armageddon, but I'll try to explain it as best I can. Armageddon is pretty much guild PvP, but how it works is there's a set of 3 mini bosses, and your team has to beat these mini bosses, and then there's a final boss which is called a realm boss, and basically you defeat all these bosses to increase their level, and they become stronger as you keep doing this. And Armageddon runs for 3 days, 1 hour each day, and once you're 30 minutes into the hour, PvP opens up to where you can actually fight other guild. Now, what's interesting is that you both are accumulating points to get the highest score. So when PvP opens up, there's certain buffs that you can get by beating members in the other guild. You'll get like an attack buff or a defense buff or whatnot, and it'll really help your guild in obtaining easier points against the realm boss and the other mini bosses. So it is really nice, but it's really fun to me because I enjoy just kind of sitting in Discord, coordinating with my other guildies on when to attack, and just kind of chilling and hanging out with people. Now, the summon tab is where you do your summons, your pulls, your spins, however you like to call it. This is where you obtain your new units and just whatever units are around at the time. Right now, as of recording, our newest unit is Holiday Frolic Beatrix, and it's obviously December, Christmas, so Christmas themed unit. Very fitting. I love this design for her. But yeah, it's a pretty nice summon system in terms of like the animations, and I like how they do the 50/50s. I don't have enough to do a poll, or else I would show you guys here in this video. But yeah, I like the summon system here. So should you play the Eminence in Shadow, Master of Garden? In my opinion, I say yes, but also I do understand that this gacha is not for everyone. In terms of doing summons, if you are paying actual money, it can be pretty unforgiving. I know that a lot of players are free to play, which is completely fine. You can get by. I do it for the most part free to play, but I do spend money where I can, where I have, free money to spend. But it can be pretty unforgiving because the pulls cost 2,800 Phantasm Gems, our currency here. You need 2,800 to do a single temple, and in my opinion, that is a bit much. If it was 2,000, that would be much more bearable, but I don't see that ever changing, and if they do change it, then I won't complain. But I think that in its own way, Eismog is a really unique gacha. I really love this lobby system, and I enjoy how the combat works because for the most part I just like seeing all of these units do cool animations and use their ultimates, and I think that it's a lot of fun. Now, for someone who likes to be very active in terms of their combat, maybe this isn't the gacha for you, but if you're a fan of the Eminence and Shadow, then I think that you will like this a lot. The main story of the game follows the anime, and the Shadow Chronicles is just some extra lore, which is pretty good in my book. I really enjoy playing this, and I tried it on a whim. I hadn't even seen the anime at first when I initially started this, and then the game made me watch the anime. And ever since, I have been playing it every single day. I think I have like 270 days logged or something. Actually, let's check. 282. So that is more than I thought. But I think that it's a fun gacha, and maybe it's right for you. Maybe give it a shot. And if you're a fan of the anime, then definitely check it out. And if you haven't checked out the anime, then be sure to check that out as well. But if you are interested in trying it, then be sure to click my video that is popping up in the top right. It's a beginner's guide for new players, and tips and tricks that will help you on your account and get you going to where you need to go. But thanks so much for watching, and be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Master of Garden content or just gaming content in general. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys in the next vid. Toodaloo!